Alright, quick update on SLP. So before I jump into the technicals, I'm just going to give a quick rundown of the news. Now, I basically highlighted the news like 5 minutes ago when I recorded my Axie Infinity video. So if you do watch both my Axie and SLP videos and you've just watched the Axie video, just skip the first 30 seconds. I'm only really going to repeat what I said in the last video. So if we look at the news before we do jump into the technicals, today, as a lot of you know, is the Origins release. Now, they basically, Axie Infinity, they released their Origins as a free-to-play title today, and there has been some complications with this. Now, it highlights it in this article that basically 600 million, I believe the approximate value was 624 million, was stolen from Axie Infinity via the Ronin network. So it's really not looking good to me. I was already considering this to be a buy the rumor, sell the news type event, but I always like to see how the price reacts on the day before I kind of, you know, decide whether it's best to be kind of like bearish or bullish. And from what I can tell, we're having really bad news right now. And also this, I mean, it says that, you know, to be fair with this, it says that they're apparently raising 150 million, I believe they said, yeah, here, that they've received 150 million in investments that will be used to ensure that the users affected by the Ronin validator hack will be reimbursed. Now, I really don't understand this too much, because you know, I may be missing something here, but if 624 million was stolen and they plan on reimbursing with 150 million, I don't understand where the other 474 is going to come from. I might be missing something. I really haven't read into every article, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, the last time I checked, you know, 624 minus 150 doesn't equals 0 where we were back at the start. So if I'm missing something, please let me know. I really didn't want to read through all of these articles because my channel was really about technical analysis, not fundamental analysis and, you know, fundamental news and what's going on. But nonetheless, this is an important day for SLP and Axie, so I did just want to update you on that. So jumping into the technicals now. So this is really not going to be based on the news that we're having right now. This is going to be based mainly on the charts. But looking at the daily, we've had a throwback into the EMA ribbons. Now, we really need to hold approximately, I want to round it down to 2 cent. In my opinion, if we start putting in daily closes below 2 cent, which we are basically at right now, I mean, you can see a move down to 2 cent. It's only going to be less than a 4% move. Nonetheless, looking at this on the daily, it's really looking kind of iffy. This was a sell the news event, in my opinion, by the rumor sell the news, because this was basically pumping based on, you know, people getting excited for Origins, but now it is out on the day, it is really landsliding. And I mean, we're not seeing too much selling volume, but you know, to be completely fair, this is decent selling volume compared to what we're used to on Axie now, or SLP rather. But it is the same on Axie. I mean, they both pretty much have the same chart, except Axie was hit much harder. I imagine there's probably a decent amount of people out there that don't know that SLP and Axie are linked, SLP being a token that's used in one of the Axie Infinity games. Nonetheless, you know, SLP is holding up a little bit better than Axie, but I do think if Axie, like I said in my previous video what I made for Axie, Axie looks like the momentum's heading to the downside and about to flip bearish, I think this would carry SLP down with it. But nonetheless, as long as we don't close below 2 cent, then, you know, I mean, technically from a technical perspective we would still be bullish, but the second we start closing dailies below 2 cent, I would kind of have to assume that this is at least going to come down to the 786, and that's being really conservative. I think sweeping the lows is not out of the question with what we've got going on, which would be a 57.5% drop. Nonetheless, coming back to the 786, that would be at least a 25% drop. So honestly, I really don't think anyone could have seen this hack coming. Obviously, you know, the charts were looking really nice. We blew out the top of this previous local top, the 618. We broke out the top of the bull flag, and I really don't think anyone kind of could have seen this news coming, apart from obviously the hackers who were planning it. Nonetheless, on the daily, once again, 2 cent needs to hold. If we drop below that, we're pretty much screwed in my opinion. Now, looking at the squeeze mom, which is a momentum indicator, squeeze momentum indicator, you can basically see we are really dying in terms of the momentum to the upside. It looks like we want to push down on the daily to the downside, and it's the same on Axie. If we look at the daily for Axie, it looks like it's about to flip bearish tomorrow, maybe if not tomorrow, then the next day. And for SLP, it looks like it could have another day or so, potentially even maybe a dead cat bounce back up to the 786 Fibonacci, which is at 220. But nonetheless, the daily looks terrible. We're heading down, we're losing all momentum, we're kind of crashing through or crashing into this EMA ribbon, which, I mean, like I said, from a technical perspective, as long as we don't close below 2 cent, then we would still be bullish. But I think with all the news we've got going on right now, the buy the rumor, sell the news type scenario seems to be playing out. Also on the 4 hourly, you can see squeeze mom is really picking up momentum to the downside. So I really do think if we keep on picking up momentum, which I believe it is very probable that we will, that the daily momentum will start flipping to the downside. And you can also see on the 4 hourly, we're really not far away from a bearish cross on the 4 hourly. Now, do bear in mind the short term, for this to flip bearish, this short term moving indicator right here needs to move below the long term indicator. That will make this flip red. On the flip side, when the short term moving indicator moves above the long term indicator, that's when it flips green. That is basically what started this rally for SLP in the first place. But like I said, the short term indicator is going to move a lot faster than the long term moving indicator. So if we don't, you know, pretty much immediately, like in the next 12 hours, in the next 16, 20, 24 hours max, in my opinion, if we're not above 228 by the same time tomorrow, which is 7 PM from where I am, then, you know, I do believe that SLP is unfortunately going to take a landslide. And I mean, that's really all I have to say. I mean, it's obviously not too good news, but what's happening with the Ronin hack, 624 million taken, the buy the rumor, sell the news type scenario, and also the EMA ribbons and the squeeze mom momentum indicator, basically all the momentum indicators are telling us that we're about to flip very, very bearish, at least in the short term, especially on the daily. I mean, this has a lot of room to move to the downside, and previously, pretty much every time that we start switching over to these dark green squeeze mom indicator bars, it is a sign that we are losing momentum, and we are 100% of the time, we have always continued to completely landslide off the table. So it's really not looking good right now, in my opinion. Once again, none of this is financial advice though. Best of luck if you're an SLP, best of luck if you're an Axie. Once again, none of this is financial advice, just my opinion on the market. And you've always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.